Yeah. All right, so hello, I'm Hunter Clark Fields. Welcome. We're doing this Q&A for the Mindful Parenting Teacher Training today, and I am so excited to introduce you to these amazing ladies right here. I'm so excited to share them with you, but first I just want to tell you a little bit about the Mindful Parenting Teacher Training, and I'm just going to do, so what it is I teach them the mindful parenting course. It's an 8-week or an 8-module course, and we have a membership. And this course brings together all that inner work we need to do to be able to lower our reactivity and calm our stress response and take care of our difficult feelings, so that then we can model and become the parent that we want to be, and practice skillful communication, maybe rather than the language that may have come out of our parents' mouth, like using threats and punishments. We practice modeling more skillful communication. So the teacher training program is to teach the course, the mindful parenting course that I created, and to take that course and to take all these modules and bring it to your community in person, and also sometimes come and do some work in our community in the membership too. But to take that and teach it, to be certified to teach it in person. I think I'm just going to do my share screen real quick, because it'll be easier to do that here, and not Google's not where I want to be. So we have a page that you can look at, mindfulparentingcourse.com/teach, that goes over all the details. And the teacher training program, it unfolds where there's the prerequisite to do the mindful parenting course. That's why we're having the Q&A about this now. So you can, if you are not a member, you can enroll and do the course between May and August. And then for this round, the part 1, the online mindful parenting concepts review, will start on September 15th, I believe. And so we go over all the concepts and the modules of mindful parenting. And then in part 2 is the training workshop, where we teaching the teacher, and this is where we do this all on Zoom, where you practice to teach all the concepts and skills back to each other and to me. And then the third part is a part that a few of these ladies are in right now, which is the in-person practicum in your community, where you teach a class in your local community. And it goes by the mindful parenting method, which are, we use the phrase clear for. Step 1 being calm. This is about calming our stress response, practicing self-compassion, taking care of our difficult feelings. Step 2 is to listen reflectively, to really hear what your kids are saying and what's going on for them. Step 3 is to express yourself honestly and effectively. Step 4 is to attend, to practice to really be present. And then step 5 is to resolve, and that's about resolving problems based on needs. And these are the modules that we teach. Module 1 is about lowering your stress response and using the powerful tools of mindfulness to do that, and building a practice. Module 2 is about disarming your triggers, understanding the things in your childhood that may be coming up for you, and making those unconscious things conscious. Module 3 is about cultivating compassion for others, compassion for ourselves, and really with practices and conscious practices to do that. Module 4 is about taking care of difficult feelings, and a process and ways to do this that are shown by research to work. Module 5 is about helping your kids solve their problems. This is our reflective listening module, and helping kids to solve their own problems. And then module 6 is how to talk, so kids will listen, so that we are not creating so much resistance and resentment. Module 7 is about resolving conflicts mindfully. And then module 8 is simplicity and gratitude for a peaceful home. So you can learn more about those at mindfulparentingcourse.com/teach. And now I want to introduce you to my wonderful people here, the teacher trainers, and we get to ask them questions. If there are any questions arising, just put them in the chat here, but I'll ask some questions now. But first I'm gonna introduce you to our first certified teacher is Darcy Fairchild. You can go ahead and wave hello.
Hello, everybody.
And Darcy, tell us where you are in geography.
In geography, I am located outside of Missoula, Montana. So representing the West Coast, I guess. Some people think we're the middle of the Midwest, but we're the West Coast in my world.
All right, well, West/Midwest.
Yeah.
And then here along with me is Erin Gray. Erin is say hello. You can just tell us where you are. And
Hello. I'm in North Carolina. That's where I live.
Normally. And Natalie, our teacher trainer, farthest away at the moment. For me.
Yes, I am in Australia, so I'm in Melbourne, Australia.
Awesome. First mindful parenting teacher in Australia. So exciting. And Kimberly.
Hi, I am in Wilmington, Delaware. I am in the city of Wilmington, so I'm going to mute myself because there's airplane, trains, and automobiles and so on sound. So I'm just going to block those out.
And then Robin, where are you in the world?
The true West Coast. We're in Central Oregon, so all the way over there. But yes, close, neighboring to Montana, kind of, sort of.
All right, awesome. So I'm just want to ask, I guess I just want to ask each of you about maybe I'm going to start with you, Darcy, because you've gone all the way through. You were kind of like in that first beta group. Why did you do the teacher training and how'd it go? And what you're planning to do with it.
Yeah. Well, if I'm really brutally honest, I took the teacher training for mostly selfish reasons. I'm definitely somebody who learns by doing and by teaching. And so after doing, I'm sorry, I'm going to probably mess up what it's actually called, but the one-on-one coaching or small group coaching, I was on a good path towards moving forward, and yet I definitely had not achieved anywhere near like mastery. So that was my initial, self-focused reason for doing it. But also I'm a licensed clinical social worker and have my own private practice where I specialize in perinatal mental health. So I work with a lot of new moms and a lot of families. And so, I'm just hearing from a lot of people in the community that we have, all these mindfulness programs, but, the thing about Hunter's program that really drew me in was that it wasn't just on like, how do we practice mindfulness? It incorporated the communication and the problem solving and, went a lot deeper. So that was kind of my reasons for choosing this particular program.
And you did the practicum. You have your certification is there. It's the paper is just being mailed to you actually as we speak. So you did your practicum. How did it go? Did you feel? I guess my question for you that I'm wondering that someone watching this who's considering this might have. Did you feel supported? Throughout that process of not only doing the things on Zoom with us and the group, but then doing that practicum on your own.
Yeah. It was really nice. I don't know what your format is currently, but when I took it, it was very small group and it felt really nurturing and supportive, a lot like an extension of the program I had already done, but now focused on like learning skills for teaching the curriculum. And yeah, it was absolutely, Hunter, you were so available and real. And I just loved working with you from beginning to end, as well as, the folks in my group. We got to be fairly close, even though one of us was in Sweden,
yeah.
Yeah. So it was a really, especially the timing that I took, it was like at the beginning of the pandemic, and I was just like needing community, right? Like all of us. And so it was really, really amazing to be going through this process and have that like weekly support you know, that extended beyond just our teacher training, really. It felt wholesome and holistic in terms of support.
Yay, yay, great, good. And the practicum itself would just be the last question. I know that was like
I need
that was
guiding.
scary, like dive in. Okay, now I'm doing it. How'd it go for you?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, y'all. I was so terrified. I am used to being one-on-one with like a client, or maybe two if we're doing a couple. And so, you know, putting myself out there is really not my favorite thing to do. So I actually did my practicum online because it happened during the thick of COVID, and that actually brought a lot of challenges that I would prefer to do it in person, which I know is the point of the program. And so, you know, it went really well. I had an amazing group that signed up. I can go into any details that feel helpful on that, but it was, you know, a solid group. I think it started out at around 11 participants, but you know, just because it was the middle of the pandemic and family life, it's hard. Folks kind of came and went. We had agreed to record all of our sessions so they could kind of come and go as they were available. So it was great though. You know, I would say the first session I was feeling very uncomfortable. But as I got into the curriculum more and, you know, kind of we built our community, it felt really, really nice. And, you know, the materials were super helpful too that Hunter has put together. It was nice I felt really excited to be able to like give my folks, you know, like a handbook, a beautiful handbook. And, you know, I gave them a couple extra treats as well, like a journal and some like affirmation cards that I had found. So it was really cool to just like drive around town and drop those off and like, you know, give them their little treats. But yeah, the whole process was really well laid out and organized, and having the materials, you know, from a teacher perspective was really nice as well, because it kept my like tangential brain focused.
And I saw the results in the surveys from your students, and they had great results, which I'm so happy for. Yay, yay. Round of applause for you. Good job. You finished.
Thank you.
So I'd love to open it up and see from the rest of you. Maybe I'll go to my neighbor, my neighbor in Wilmington, normally, Kimberly. Can I ask you about sort of what was your driving force for joining, and what your experience has been so far?
It's funny because I was just sitting here reminiscing that I have had the privilege of actually being in a classroom with you, and so in my initial introduction was you were doing a workshop at the Montessori school that we were thinking about enrolling my granddaughter in, and heard this title, Raising Good Humans, and of course that just intrigues you, right? So I was able to attend, and like Darcy said, it was just your personality. You were very open. You were it was very comfortable to have a conversation in and around, you know, stress response and breaking generational patterns. And it just really spoke to me, not just as a parent of a 28-year-old and a 23-year-old and a 6-year-old granddaughter, to boot, but as a parent educator. I'm a parent educator with a home visiting program here in Wilmington. And so it was really relevant for me, both personally and professionally. And just reached out, and she was just so welcoming, and we connected that way. And then I think I came through some of the other coursework with just the mindful parenting piece. And then when I realized like the teacher training was available, I really wanted to do it. As an educator, I think, you know, we're on the path of lifelong learning. And so it just kind of gave me another level of insight in and around supporting my parenting personally, like I said, supporting my daughter's parenting of my granddaughter, and then also sharing this information with those families that I visit with, which is typically in the realm of about 25 to 30 families at any given time. And so I've done some workshops and opportunities to teach in group settings, either with community groups or as professional development, but not with this material. And I think it's really at the core of being able to reach even the other information. Like they can't really process it if they're not able to lower their stress response, particularly in this pandemic experience. It's so necessary. So it's been such a full day of mindful mama mentor and mindful parenting conversation. I'll give a little piece of it, and Erin can give more detail. But we just this morning our class met together, and it was really, really good. It was a surprise for me because I had not checked my email. But when I realized that we were going to get together, we were able to talk about the experience and kind of just lean into each other and understand better what this is going to take moving towards our practicum. So I am wanting to do that for my community. So I'm looking for some other streams of income, like in streams of providing like a grant to be able to provide this opportunity to those families that are vulnerable and may not be able to afford the cost, but really have to be able to afford the time. I would love to be able to share this information that I feel will be very beneficial for them. So.
Woot, woot. And I just discovered a team member, by the way, you'll have to talk to me about this later, but a team member on my team is done some grant writing. So I'm going to be connecting her to you. Actually, it is Lynn, the community manager. So she just revealed that to me. So there you go. Cool. All right. Well, you mentioned Erin. Want to jump over to Erin and share? Can you share a little bit about your intentions and what your experience has been like?
Yes, I can. I feel like, Darcy, we have never met, but you described my past as the same as your past. So I first was introduced to Hunter. I found her through a podcast recommendation, so listened a little bit and then kind of just kept like picking up pieces of what she offers, and then did a mindful parenting transformation coaching group. And then the next year I decided to do the teacher training. And I totally agree that I felt like it was another step to kind of deepen my practice and refresh on the material, but also think about it in a different way of like how, now that I like know this and I've tried it for myself, how would I explain it to someone else? And so that just helps to give yourself a deeper understanding of what you're doing, but also to give that benefit to someone else and help with someone else. I was drawn to the program because I felt like it acknowledges a lot of the struggles that we have, and like almost a come as you are, like come and bring your frustration and your irritability, bring your high points where you just love and adore your children, but also bring the low points where it's really hard, especially when we as parents are at our personal low points where we're tired or we're sick or we haven't eaten, we missed a meal, I don't know, something like that, or some other extra life stressors going on. And then still we have to bring our A game to parenting. And how do we support ourselves and do that? And I think that this program, because it works on decreasing your inner stress response and taking care of yourself, so then you can give that back to your children and model that behavior for your children as they're growing up into adulthood. Like that piece really spoke to me. I was part of the group. I don't remember when we started, maybe October, but we finished in February. And I had my first class of my practicum last night. So
Yay!
so it went really well. One of my goals was to bring mindful parenting to my community. I live in a small town in North Carolina, and just to kind of keep building and growing my little village of parents, so that it's open and we can talk about it, and we have, meet new parents that I haven't met before. So that's what I wanted to do, a supportive community within my community. My practicum is virtual, but it's mostly people in my community with a couple outliers that like I've met at other points in my life. So hopefully we'll be able to kind of begin and grow that community for us.
Yay, yay. I'm so glad you had your first class. I want to know all about it, but that's okay. We can wait for another time. Yeah, so yeah, and when we talk about teaching in the community, you know, it's about kind of creating that, like, in general, it'll be that in-person kind of physical space, but like tapping into, there may be groups like a YMCA group or a church group, or, you know, I know you were an OBGYN, so you may have a group there.
Oh, yeah.
In Wilmington, you know, there could be a group through the Wilmington Birth Center or all kinds of different sort of places. Natalie, I know you've had your first, haven't you had your first class, one of your first classes yet, I think?
I've had 2 classes now because I had my second one last night. So yeah, very exciting. Yeah, it's really good to see them. I've got 5 mums and a dad, so it's really nice to have the dad perspective as well. And yeah, it's great to see the participants are all really engaged. They're loving the material, and I'm doing it virtually as well, just because we had a bit of a rough patch at the start, so I was a bit hesitant to do it in person yet. But half of the parents are local and half of them aren't, so they still live in my state, but just not so close to me in real time. So yeah, it's been really good. Yeah. I did the mindful parenting course. It's probably been about 3 years ago now. So it was a while, and I've been leading women's circles since 2019. And then when the pandemic hit, I was like, and Hunter's course came up, like, to teach mindful parenting. I'm like, oh, this is something I've always wanted to do. It was always kind of in the back of my mind, but I guess I was like too scared and kind of thought, oh, who am I to be teaching, you know, mindful parenting to others, like, you know. But I thought, no, I'm going to do it because I really want to. And I think being in lockdown really highlighted the need to do things that, you know, I wanted to do and just go for it. So yeah, I did, and it's been really great. We had a great little group, and it's been really good that we've been able to communicate with each other via Messenger, just to keep us all, you know, focused and lifted up, and yeah. So
Great, good, yay for your 2 classes. And so, yeah, we are working on, for the fall, we have 2 times. Actually, this might be a good time to just kind of interject those 2 times. We there will be 2 groups, be on Wednesdays starting September 15th. And one is at this time about 3 p.m. Eastern. And another, so that is an Australia friendly time, as we've discerned, Natalie, because of the time change. It's the most Australia friendly time that we could work out. And we have another time, which is 11 a.m. Eastern, which is obviously, it's like it may be friendly for people in the US, also may be friendly for the actually the initial person that we set at that time for was in Dubai. So anyway, those are the 2 like times. Check your time zone for whatever you're thinking of. And Robin, you have a big practicum group going forward, don't you? So tell us a little bit about kind of what's driving you to do this, and what's going on with your practicum situation.
Yeah, you bet. Yeah, I think initially this just jumped out at me when I went on like a personal healing journey for myself, from not being the mom that I thought I was going to be right out of the gates. So this work kind of really touched my heart a few years ago, and just kept wanting more and more and more. Usually when I get on a course of something, I want to go like max out to the highest level. So this was kind of just that way of doing the online course from home, and then having the opportunity to be in a small group with you right before COVID stuff started. And one of those mamas is actually now in my class and she's planning to do the teacher training in the fall. So that's kind of cool. And then I was in Natalie's group for the teacher training just in the fall of last year. And our family moved from Seattle to Washington in the midst of that. So I'm now in a new town where I don't know anybody. So my practicum is really pulling from my core group of people in Seattle, where most of our years were raising our kids through the co-op preschool and the co-op elementary school that we were a part of, just friends that were in my life. And then I kind of reached out to different people outside of the West Coast that have been in my life throughout different points. And I had 12 people that said yes. And so I couldn't really cap it. I was just kept saying, yeah. And then before I knew it, I was up to 12 people. But so it's actually been really good because a lot of those moms in that group are very quiet people that I don't really foresee them sharing a whole lot. They're just very private. They're in kind of in that. So there's space for people to talk that are, extroverts and want to have that conversation. But I do hope that it's intimate enough where those that are will have that chance. So yeah, there's 12 of us kind of scattered around the East Coast, West Coast. And tomorrow night will be my second session, but we did an extra session just to kind of get to know everybody on its own thing because there were 12 of us. So we spent an hour just talking about who we are, where we're coming from. And that was really special because I think that really just set the foundation before we jumped into our first session. So people kind of came and knew who each other were. So I feel like we really are intimate for being a Zoom thing. Everybody comes with their cup of tea and just kind of, I feel like we're kind of creating that as much as we can, even though it's via the computer. So, but I hope to offer one here in my new community through our chiropractor's office in the fall. So I'm excited about going that route in another couple months. So yeah, I just want this work to be in my bones. I want it to be like just flowing out of me naturally. I don't want it to be still feeling like it's work, like it takes effort. I want it to just be so in me that this is just flowing out of me. So I thought if I could teach this to other people, like you said, Erin, it just brings it to another level of understanding it. So that was it's kind of my intention now with it. So yeah.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I mean, I think selfishly, like that, I felt that way too, like I really need to like get the skills of communication in my bones, the mindfulness in my bones, the compassion, all of those things. And for me, I have to say, after teaching it for many years, like teaching is the best form of learning. It's so true because you're forced to learn it so much. I'm seeing, so I just want to answer some questions like about the teacher training. It is all virtual, what we're doing here. And that works pretty well. We've got it all sort of set, working very well. We're able to make connections, which I think are really beautiful and lasting. I think, as you can see, what people have said. I see, Suzanne, your question about it would be lovely if there'd be a way to connect the mindful parenting teacher trainers once you complete the program. Seems like it'd be a great support system for everyone. Yes, absolutely. We do want to do that. I mean, eventually my vision is to have teacher trainers all around the world. And once a year, we have a mindful parenting conference somewhere where we actually come in person and meet each other. I would love that. That's my vision as I go forward, going down the way. And I know, unfortunately, we were not able to kind of be on Zoom or on live on Facebook, kind of the way that we were supposed to be. So a couple of you guys were able to find your way here through to the Zoom session, which is really cool. But for those who don't, and you're watching the recording, I just want to share with you that we will be filling many of the spots for the fall have filled already. To apply, you go to mindfulparentingcourse.com/teach. And there's a button here to apply to the program. It's an application based. When you click over, the application looks like this. And I'm going to ask you, tell me more about why you want to teach mindful parenting and any relevant experience you have. So please answer that really fully. And that's a place for you to share all of your experience. And, you know, in the current class of teacher trainers, you know, we have people who have a lot of experience and people who don't have as much. And what's nice about having varying levels of experience is that you share from your own voice and your own experience. You know, if you have your challenges, it's great. Like that, those are helpful, right? Like it's helpful to be able to share your own challenges, and it's not about being perfect and being a perfect master of everything, but about your own progress and doing that and kind of living what you want, what you're teaching, right? Living that process. So, I'm trying to think of any questions that people might have. If there are any more, can you guys think of any questions that you had before you joined in that we could answer before we let y'all go?
I think for me was how it gets broken up to practice teaching it. Like once you're in that group, what that looks like for us teaching it back to you.
Yes.
Now
Yeah.
doing practicum, it's like, ooh, okay, I'm doing these sessions, the whole thing all by myself for the 2 hours versus like just a little, as I look back, I'm like, oh yeah, that was the part that I taught to Hunter. And then I remember Natalie teaching this part. And so kind of that setup, I guess. The structure.
Yeah, thank you. So when I originally wrote the mindful parenting course, I wrote the whole thing for me to teach it in person, which I've done a number of times. So the whole thing is set up so that, and you guys can tell me how you feel about this, but like where you're following along, it's all like, you know, you open with this opening session and then you teach about this piece and then you teach about this piece. So it's all very written out for you. There's room for a lot of your own voice and experience and things like that. And if you forget everything, you got some words to fall back on there. And then what we're doing during the teaching back to you sessions is that the way we shifted the structure a little bit since you guys went through. So we are actually making sure we have each teacher trainer is paired with another teacher trainer, and there's a little homework on the weekend where you're leading a meditation to your partner and that partner is leading a meditation back to you. You're practicing rain with your partner and that person is teaching that back to you, and then we bring it also together in the group. But there's practice outside of the sessions and in the sessions for all the different pieces. And then when you do the practicum, you do the whole thing all together, as Robin's discovering. Well, listen, it's a little past 4:06 here. I don't want to keep you guys any longer. I'm so thrilled and honored that you all chose to come and share your time with me. You know, so what happens now at this point, I just want to let you know with the teacher, as the teachers are certified, you'll see Darcy's name is going to be popping up on our website as our certified teacher. If you want to in-person mindful parenting class out around Missoula, Montana, how to connect with her and have her teach a class for your group or whatever. And we'll be sharing that information for everyone who goes through the certification process and supporting you. And as the program grows, because it's small and growing, we are going to be doing more and more levels of support as we're able to support that. Any final words you guys want to add in here before we just close up shop? I'm so appreciative that you came.
I was going to say,
oh, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead, Darcy.
Well, I was just going to tell you, Hunter, I was asked yesterday to teach a class for the university's preschool program. So I think I'm going to be doing that in a couple of weeks.
Woot, woot. Oh, then yes, I have some information to give you too about some ways we're supporting payment options and all kinds of things that we've added on there too. So other final words. Thank you.
I was just going to say, it gave me goosebumps when you said getting all the teacher trainees together in person. It was just like, oh, that would be really cool, because these are just people that get it, they understand, and they're like your people. And that would just be really special. So I hope that.
I would say to the people who are thinking about it, if you've gotten this far and you're watching this video, you should sign up and you will not regret it.
I agree.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd say the same. And that the course is so thorough. Like you're given every single bit of material that you could possibly need. You know, Hunter just guides you through the whole thing, and you get so much resources. Like it's really easy to follow. So yeah.
Yeah. And the continual support of your group, that this is really a community reaching far and wide, but still a very small community of us that are learning this and have the desire. I love that Robin said, just to the bone.
It's been like completely life enhancing to this whole process of, you know, connecting with Hunter, but especially the teacher training. So, you know, I like that, you know, just seeing the positive changes in my own family and knowing that like, as I continue to spread that into the community, that will be like just even more far reaching.
Well, I think that's a beautiful place to stop it. Thank you guys so much for taking time of your day to share your story and your voice and your beautiful faces with me and everyone who gets to see this. And all right, we got a thank you from the chat. Thank you, Suzanne and Heidi. Any other questions? You can send them to me, hunter@mindfulmamamentor.com. And I really appreciate your time today.
Bye, everybody.